Hello everyone, back to you into today's second video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. For today's second video, which takes us around the 24th of April, we'll be able to extend out beyond that, the extended GFS and ECM ensembles over to around a couple of weeks. And that'll get us pretty much to the beginning of May. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 for the next 4 weeks. That takes us into the middle part of May, of course. So no video yesterday, took the day off, but we did have the historic video, the second part of the Frozen 40s trilogy, looking at the winter of 1940-1941. Seemed to go down quite well. Reviews seem to be pretty good. So that video is now within the historic section at Gazwa. You can watch it on demand whenever you want. And also there's a playlist on the YouTube channel. And so you can get to that video quite easily. If you didn't get to see it yesterday, you'll be able to catch up on demand whenever you would like to do that. Because we didn't do a video yesterday, we've got to sort of set the scene about what's going on. No real changes over the weekend from where we left off on Sunday when we did Gaza City Roundup. Essentially, we're still looking at quite a lot of high pressure, although there might be a unsettled interruption down in the south around Thursday, Friday. There's a bit of uncertainty about this, but it could turn quite wet just briefly down across more southern parts of the country Thursday, Friday. But the longer term outlook is possibly hinting at taking the high pressure north and starting to set up some northern blocking. But we'll talk about that as we go through the video anyway. Now, just to say, the first thing I'm going to say is, of course, about the competition. So, we teamed up metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation, and we ran a prize draw for a week last week. We gave away on Sunday the wireless rain gauge, climate wireless rain gauge. Katrine Beso was the winner, so congratulations to Katrine. Katrine's name came out of the bag in the video on Sunday. All runners-up, if you enter this competition, all runners-up are also entitled to a 15% off discount on any metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation product. It could be this rain gauge, but it could be something else as well. You get 15% off from any MetCheck product because you entered this competition, and to get that discount you will need the discount code. So the discount code to retrieve your 15% off discount with MetCheck is Gavin15, Gavin 15. Gavin15 is your official discount code. Gets you 15% off this or any other metcheck.co.uk products. It's valid for 1 month as well. So, well done to everybody who entered the competition. You're all going to get 15% off with MetCheck, and special well done, of course, to Katrine Beso, who was our winner of the prize draw. And now, the second thing I'm going to do is say a big thank you to our latest patrons. So we have got we've got 64. What I'm talking about, we've got 64 patrons so far. And I'm going to say a big thank you to latest patron Neil Cutler. Neil Cutler is Gazworthy's latest patron. Thank you so much, Neil, for becoming a patron for Gazworthy's. That's really, really kind of you for doing that. If you would like to become a patron for Gazworthy's, what we need to do, come to the Gazworthy's patron page, sign up for a patron account, assuming you don't already have one, and then you can give an ongoing monthly donation to Gazworthy's to be anything from $1 a month upwards. That ensures you become a patron for Gazworthy's, and we'll give you a mention in videos, we'll give you a shout out, and we'll say thank you so much for doing that. So big thank you to Neil, and big thank you to all of our patrons. We really do hope you're enjoying the content at the moment. There is also PayPal as well, so you would like to become a donor for Gazworthy's. Again, all you need to do, come to the Gazworthy's PayPal page, you sign into your PayPal account. Until I've not done this since Sunday, can't you? You sign in into your PayPal account, and then you can give whatever donation you want to Gazworthy's. And again, by doing that, you are becoming a donor for Gazworthy's. Give you a mention videos, give you a shout out, and say thank you so much for doing that. So whether you do it through PayPal or Patreon, you're still going to get a mention in video. Got some quite exciting happening with the YouTube channel as well. There is developments with Gareth Weather's YouTube channel, and I'll tell you all about that in tomorrow's live stream. I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow between 4 and 5 in the afternoon, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going to happen with Gareth Weather's YouTube channel going forward. But it is I'm quite excited about it. Anyway, back to today's video. So a big thank you to all of our patrons, big thank you to all of our donors. Special thank you to Neil Cutler for becoming Gareth Weather's 64 patron. Thank you so much, Neil, for doing that. Right, let's move on with the video then. And we're going to start off with sector and temperature. So this is how the CT is currently shaping up, provisional to the 13th of the month, 13th of April, yesterday. And we're standing at 11.2. That's an anomaly. Let's get rid of that. That's an anomaly of 4.3 degrees above average. So it's been an exceptionally warm start to April, most definitely. But it's going to tick down a little bit over the next couple of days, because we did have a very cold night last night. Tonight won't be as cold, but it will still be pretty chilly, so that's going to be enough to shave quite a bit off. But we're looking at an above average first half to April, very significantly and substantially so, and it's going to be, and I think looking at an above average temperature for the month overall. Even now, we're only at the 13th, but I can't see anything that will cause us to have a below average month, average month. The only question will be how much above average will this month be. So we'll keep monitoring that, of course, over the next few days and weeks. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from Penn State University for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECM WF on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure and low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates low pressure, yellow, orange and red extrapolate to high pressure. Now this shows what I'm talking about at the start of the video, with the high pressure that's currently dominating weather, has been for some time, looking like it might become a northern blocking type feature. So this will week to 10-day time frame, takes us to around the 24th of April, just into the last week of the month, and you see the above average heights are extending to the north and to the northwest too. So that's quite a large blocking feature, looking like it's setting up close to Greenland. A trough of below average heights is beginning to develop underneath it, as will often happen, especially when you get through to summer. If you get northern blocking, you'll tend to get a trough of low pressure underneath the block. So we've got a trough of low pressure setting up over northern parts of France, and high pressure up towards Greenland. This probably does two things: brings in some quite cool air from the north to northeast, and of course a trough of low pressure to the south might start delivering some more unsettled conditions as we move in towards the latter stages of the month. The GFS is very similar. Again, it shows high pressure going northwards, so high pressure be going centred within the northern latitudes, really. The trough of below average heights is a little bit further south with this. It's more centred towards Spain, actually. So not as unsettled with the GFS as the ECM hints at being, anyway, around day 10. But it is probably quite cool, and a little bit more easterly as well. They're both relatively dry, I have to say. They're both blocking off the Atlantic, so we're not bringing sort of deep areas of low pressure in off the Atlantic Ocean. But they both look quite cool. Relatively dry, particularly for the north. Question mark over the south, where the southern areas might turn wetter. Now these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks, we're at Stourbridge in the West Midlands today. If you'd like to have your local town or city feature within this part of the video, all you need to do is email us at garethweathers@gmail.com, or alternatively, you can ask us through our social media accounts, and we're always happy to feature your local town or city within this section of the video. The red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Stourbridge. Above average at the moment, quite significantly so still, the upper air temperatures, although things are a bit colder on the surface, as I say, but over the next couple of days, actually, even on the surface, it's going to start to warm up. Then we're going towards the weekend and next week, and we see a decline taking place in the upper air temperature. So there is definitely a cooling trend from where we are through the first part of the graph to where we are sort of into the last week of April. running up to the end of the month. I think you can see there is clearly a decline in upper air temperatures taking place. So it looks as though, as we get towards the last week of April, things might start to become quite cool. Precipitation-wise, not a dry weather coming up for the next few days, but you'll notice these rainfall spikes just here. That's sort of the end of the week. That's around Friday. Excuse me, where we might turn things really quite wet down in the south and in the southwest too. Excuse me, again, now it could turn really quite wet in the south briefly around Friday. How far north that rain gets is uncertain. The GFS ensembles are hinting that it sort of gets to the Midlands anyway, because this is established, it is in the West Midlands. So it could get as far north as the Midlands, and then sort of pulling away towards the southwest as high pressure takes over again. And you can see it actually beyond that as we go into next week. You have got quite a drying trend appearing then. Once again, although late on, right at the very end of the month, it might start to turn more unsettled. There is a lot of uncertainty about this period, though. Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, just how wet it's going to get, how far north will the rain get, and how heavy will it be. So it is going to be a case of watch this space, I think, for the end of the week for more southern parts of the country. Temperature anomalies from the 14th to the 22nd of April, very close to average, not a particularly big deviation either way. That's encompassing still the cold nights that we're getting at the moment, of course. Precipitation anomalies for many central and northern parts of the country, drier than average, substantially so. Near a normal precipitation towards the southwest, though. So, yes, down in the southwest, near normal precipitation there. But definitely drier further north. Again, this is a question mark about just how wet will it get at the end of the week. That's how the GFS looks for Friday. So this is the uncertainty. We've got high pressure sitting over and just to the north of the country up here, technically keeping us all settled. But then we've got low pressure down here. We've got one area of low pressure around Biscay, another one further out into the Atlantic, and another one down there close to the Azores. So there's quite a bit of low pressure to our south and southwest. These low pressures are trying to bring bands of rain northwards into the country. Of course, being fended off quite a lot by the high pressure to the northeast. So as we go through to Saturday, we see that there's an area of low pressure across the northern parts of France. So clearly another low down here, a very shallow one. So clearly it looks like more southern areas are getting quite a bit of rain. But that high pressure is still sitting off the east coast of Scotland. So again, it's a very complicated pattern. It is uncertain, and we've just got to watch space and firm upon the detail for how much rain there is at the end of the week in the south. If this was winter, this would be a snowmaker, of course, with high pressure to the northeast and low pressure to the south. That will be bringing snow across southern parts of the country. By Sunday, we're all back under the high pressure, so then things get much more simplified. We're back under high pressure in a relatively cool easterly wind, I suppose, but all areas will be dry. And that carries on then into next week as we move up towards the middle part of next week. Again, high pressure dominates the weather. But as we saw on the Penn State University 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts, the high pressure is eventually moving over towards Iceland and Greenland, starting to become more of a northern blocking type feature. And so as we get towards day 10, we start to pull in some cooler, even some colder sort of northeasterly winds. That's how long as we get to day 10. High pressure then is focused on Iceland, low pressure is over Denmark, and we're bringing quite a cold sort of northeasterly wind. The air actually originates to the north of Scandinavia with that. So as we get to day 10, we turn quite cold. There's the upper air temperature showing a minus 5 Celsius isotherm pushing through the country. And then beyond that, we keep things quite cold, really. In the more extended ranges, high pressure eventually becomes a really significant proper northern blocking feature over Greenland. Low pressure develops off the east coast of Scotland. That just keeps winds in from the north. So this is quite a cold end to April, actually, that the GFS is seeing today. That's as far as we can go with the GFS today, which is the last day of April, can you believe? And then we're looking not only quite cold, or certainly very cool, potentially turning more unsettled as well, as we've got all of this low pressure down here around the Azores beginning to get going and starting to move in that direction. As I say, when you get northern blocking setting up, particularly in the summer, but also true later in the spring, you'll tend to get low pressure forming underneath the block. So that's going to cool and potentially quite unsettled pattern, actually, for the beginning of May. very long way out, of course, over 2 weeks away, so it's not worth being particularly concerned about. The GM looks like that again, lots of dry weather for Friday, but rain threatening in the south and the southwest. Again, we've got this uncertainty about Friday, Saturday. How much rain will we get in the south? I think the GM is probably drier than the GFS for the end of the week and the start of the weekend. Into next week, again, a lot of high pressure influences. High is further south with the GM, centred through the country, so that's a relatively warm ridge actually through the middle of next week, bringing a lot of dry and quite warm weather. Eventually, the GM does get to where the GFS is, though, takes the high pressure up to Iceland and Greenland, so sets up proper northern blocking and turns the wind into the north by day 10. That's a cold snap for the last week of April setting up. ECM looks like that again, lots of dry weather at the end of the week, but rain threatening the south and the southwest. How much rain is to be determined. That continues in Saturday with the uncertainty too. After that, we go into relatively dry conditions through the second half weekend and the early part of next week. Although low pressure never far away from the south. This is Tuesday next week. Again, some low pressure is threatening some rain for more southern counties. And then moving up towards day 10, we saw it on the 500 millibar high only flow charts. This high pressure gets to Greenland. It becomes northern blocking. So we set up a proper area, blocking area of high pressure around Greenland. And we start to pull in some colder winds from the north to the northeast too. So the big three, the GFS, the GM, and the ECM, are all suggesting northern blocking and northerly winds by day 10, perhaps bringing a cold end to April. We shall see about that. It's a way off, but certainly it's a consistent trend among all three of these models today. This is the precipitation type forecast based on the ECM run from Temetshow.com. So we know for the next few days we're going to have lots and lots of dry weather, no precipitation really to speak of. But as we get towards the end of the week, things start to have a little bit more showery. So down in the southwest, we've got some heavy rain coming in on Friday. About trying to get into Wales and the Midlands, or getting into Wales, trying to get to the Midlands by the time you get through to Saturday. It looks really quite wet actually on Saturday down across more southern parts of the country. Then the rain sort of fizzles away as high pressure begins to take over for a while. But more wet weather is threatening the south there through the early part of next week. Turns quite wet into the southeast, you'll notice. Then that gets out of the way. By the time we get through to day 10, we begin to pull in those colder northern winds, and showers are beginning to go a little bit wintry across northern parts of Scotland. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles for day 10 by the Icelandic Met Office. Today this gets us to the 24th of April. We have 22 members of the ECM ensembles with northern blocking, high pressure from the North Atlantic going up to Greenland and bringing quite a cold north to northeast wind. That does include not only the operational run, which is run we've just been discussing, but also the ECM control run as well. 16 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to the north and winds sort of coming in from the east, and then 13 with high pressure again as a northern blocking feature up towards Greenland, and low pressure underneath it, both to the south and to the east. So not only is that bringing in quite cool or even relatively cold north to northeasterly winds, it's also more unsettled too with this low pressure, particularly for the south, threatening some outbreaks of rain. In 2 weeks' time, these options that we've got, this gets us to the 29th of April, more or less to the end of the month. 25 members of the ECM ensemble still with high pressure in the North Atlantic and going up towards Greenland, low pressure to the southwest. So trying to turn more unsettled in the south and probably quite chilly as well with winds in from an easterly direction. 15 with low pressure out to the west of the country, so quite unsettled with those, and beginning to go milder as well. And 11 with high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north. Winds with that one are coming in from the west. So maybe hinting at by the end of April things are a bit milder, but possibly also a little bit more unsettled. Finally, CFSV2, so these are 500 millibar heights breaking down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 14th to the 20th of April. The coming week is still dominated by high pressure overall, so plenty of dry weather ahead. Week 2 is the 21st to 27th of April. Then the high pressure is going north up towards Iceland, maybe Greenland, low pressure to the south of it. Still a lot of dry weather with that, but colder. Winds are more from a northeasterly type direction, and the low pressure to the south, of course, could be threatening some rain into more southern parts of the country. Week 3 looks unsettled and quite cold. This is the 28th of April to the 4th of May. Low pressure then is dominating weather, and high pressure is up towards Greenland. So that's just quite a cool and wet start to May. And then week 4 is the 5th to the 11th of May. High pressure back to the north of Scotland, somewhere between Norway and Iceland. Winds are in from the east. That's drier, of course. High pressure is back in control. And as winds go easterly, that might be starting to bring some warmer air in from off the continent, maybe. Temperature anomalies in week ahead. The 14th, 20th of April, MSV2 are above average. Week 2 is also above average. You would have thought this would probably be a colder week, but actually the model still going for a milder than average week for the 21st to 27th of April. I'm not sure about that, really. That looks a little bit overdone. Week 3 is colder than average. This is the 28th of April to the 4th of May. It is genuinely below average then, but I think week 2 could also be quite a cool week. And then week 4, which is the 5th to the 11th of May, goes a bit more than average from the north of the country, still a bit below average down in the south. So a relatively cool sort of start to May coming up anyway, if this is right. Precipitation-wise, week 1, 14th, 20th of April, significantly drier than average in the coming week. Week 2 is also relatively dry from the 21st to the 27th of April. Week 3 reverts to being near normal, but could be more unsettled. Notice to the south it's a bit wetter than average, and also to our east as well. And then we get through to week 4, and we begin to hint that we go a bit drier there from the 5th through to the 11th of May. So it is a bit of a mixed bag, but I think there's two sort of main question marks. The first one is in the coming days, how much rain will we get into the south? That's going to cause us headaches for tomorrow's 5-day forecast. I know that already. That's going to be quite complicated for Friday and Saturday. How much rain is going to get into the south? The longer term picture is with the northern blocking, or longer term question marks is about the northern blocking. Are we going to set this high pressure up over Greenland around days 7 to 10? If we do, are we going to start pulling in cold winds from the north to northeast? And how cold will it get? Will it turn unsettled as well? Will we turn cold and wet for the closing days of April and the beginning of May? That's like the longer term focus, and I suspect we'll be talking about this quite a bit in the videos in the next few days, probably. Right, that's brought you up to date with everything after taking yesterday off, so you're now back well and truly up to date. We release each a 30-day look ahead as today's first video, by the way, for the next 4 weeks, so don't forget to check that out. Tomorrow, as I said, we've got the 5-day forecast coming up. We'll also have another week 10-day video update, as we always do, and there will be a live stream tomorrow as well on the Gals Weather's YouTube channel. Between 4 and 5 o'clock, we'll go live, we'll check in and see how we're all doing while we remain in lockdown. Gals Weather's community will come together and we'll see how we're all doing in the live stream. That's between 4 and 5 o'clock tomorrow. As I said, I've got a bit of news about the YouTube channel as well, quite exciting. What's going to be coming up on the YouTube channel, and I'll tell you more about that during the live stream tomorrow. Right then, that's it for today's video, so thanks so much for watching. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.